Alright, we're going to look at direct and inverse variation today, lesson 60. Okay, so direct variation, that is your formula. A equals KB. K is some constant. We don't know what it is. Inverse variation, A equals K divided by B. Again, K is some constant. It changes for every problem. Do you need to learn those two? Yes. You have to learn that direct variation is K times B, and inverse is K divided by B. So looking at an example, the number of boys varies directly as the number of girls. The problems will actually have more information than this, but we're just looking at how to set up the equation. What thing comes before the word varies? Boys. So boys, when it says varies, you write equals. And then what kind of variation is it? So what's going to be happening? We have a K. Is it multiplied or divided by? Why multiplication? Because it's direct. So multiplied by what? What is our other thing? Girls, so G. Does that make sense? Direct variation, K times the second item. Okay, let's try another one. Yeah, these are just looking at what formula you would set up. Price varied inversely as number of items. So what comes before varies? Price, P. So price varies. Does that make sense? Inversely, are we dividing? Why? Inversely means to divide on these as the number of items. So you can use an N, you can use an I really don't care. The letters that you're going to plug in are to help you figure it out. So whatever you want to name them. Do y'all see how that works? Any questions so far? Okay. See if you can make your own equation. Don't say it out loud. Just see if you can make it by yourself. Resistance is directly proportional to length. Does it actually say varies in this problem? Okay, but what comes before the directly proportional part? The resistance, right? So the resistance Directly proportional. Is that going to be multiplication or division? Okay, so k times what? Do you see how that works? Any questions there? Okay, one more. Number of revolutions per minute is inversely proportional to the number of teeth in the gear. What would come first? The number of revolutions, and then equals what? K divided by teeth, or the gears, or whatever you want to name that. Does that make sense? Y'all see how to set up the equations? Okay. So let's look at an example. The number of boys in a classroom varies directly as the number of girls. That's telling you what formula you're going to use. Does that make sense? And then it gives you information. In one room, there are 8 boys and 2 girls. If there are 5 girls in another room, how many boys are in the room? So we're actually going to have a number answer. It's not just an equation, but you have to start with the equation. Any ideas what equation you would start with? Before that. Do you agree? Okay, so there are 2 steps. You solve for your k, and then you actually solve for the answer they're wanting you to find. Does that make sense? So how are we going to solve for our k? Okay. And what is our b and our g? 8 and 2, right? So what is k? Does that make sense? Okay, so our equation is b equals 4g. We can put g with 5, because they tell us there are 5 girls. So how many boys are there? Kind of, yeah. Does that make sense? We'll actually do it with ratios in another lesson. Any questions here? Okay. Let's look at another one. Number of revolutions per minute varies inversely as the number of teeth in the gear. Someone want to go write the equation you would start with? Go ahead. That's what that smell is. Oh! Do you agree? That's fine. The equation, I'm not going to ask you what equation did you use. It's to help you in the problem. So how would you figure out your k? Okay. Right? And what are our r and our g? That's fine. You can put it here and then solve for k. Anybody have any questions about how to get the k? What? Plugged in 40 teeth results in 100 RPMs.
That's a K.
Oh yeah, that's a k. And that's a k. And that's a k.
No, not that. Wait, the top? She just
multiplied both sides by
two.
But you can plug in right here and then solve for your k. It doesn't matter to me. Any questions on the k part? Okay, so what is our actual equation that we want to use?
R equals 4
Like that? Does that make sense? Okay, so y'all say what? 133 1/3. That's fine. Oh, 1/3. That's just a G. Because it said K over G. And then we plug in 30 for the gears, the teeth. That'd be fun.
Where'd you get that second equation?
Go back up here and plug in what your K actually is. It's still using this thing, but you're putting in a K. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Is it okay to get a decimal on these? Yeah? If we'd gotten a decimal on the last one, would that have been okay? Because we're dealing with what? People. Can you have parts of people? Yeah. Okay, so if you get parts of people, you probably did something wrong. Yes. Does that make sense on this one? Any questions? Okay, see if you can do this one completely by yourself.
Always want to say.
Someone want to go work it on the board? Other thing right there? Put it on the board.
I'll go.
Great, let's do the board too. You didn't do the factory?
Oh, that's hard to do.
Tomorrow we go for tomorrow.
We'll see. Okay. All right. We'll try it tomorrow. Chill.
Like, it's good in there.
Great. Yeah. 24.
Yeah. You got it right. I did that way
If you use
wrong.
fraction, it would have been 100. I mean, 1 over 500.
I know. I got 6 million. I got 6 million too. I got 6 million.
Y'all, what you did, you put in 20,000 divided by 40.
Right.
Instead of 40 divided by 20,000.
Oh, darn. Does that make sense?
Are there more clowns or more performers? Okay, so when we have 12,000 performers, should we have a lot of clowns or just a few? Just a few. Does that make sense? You can kind of just look at it and see, does my answer look close or not? Does that make sense? Any questions on this one? Okay, one more. See if you can do it completely by yourself. Does she not normally?
She's very here.
You always just shave one leg.
My roommate in college did that. She's like, I figured out if you just shave one leg every time you take a shower, then your legs will be more shaven and you can spend half the time on it. I was like, whatever.
No, will he? They told me to shave one leg. Like, that makes no sense. Good luck.
His hair is gonna grow back in. Yeah.
Did y'all get 9,000 for K?
Yeah.
Black people are
How weird are you?
black guys.
Did y'all get that? Any questions there? Anything I need to go over? Okay, so direct variation, what is that going to be? A equals KB. What about inverse variation? A equals K divided by B. Do you have to know those two? Yes, if you don't learn them, are you going to be in trouble on these? Very possibly. Okay.